This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 348, Don't Upgrade, and Reprogramming the Twitch, from the audiobook Essential, Essays by the Minimalists. And I'm Justin Malik, the guy who reads blogs and books to you for free to help you optimize your life, all for the purpose of bringing you more happiness and a more meaningful life. And for the last 3 days, I've been playing excerpts from an audiobook that I narrated for the Minimalists, and this will probably be the last of it for the week. Maybe I'll try to find a Thanksgiving or Black Friday post for tomorrow and Friday. We'll see. And this will be the last time, at least for a while, that I mention that you can get one of the Minimalist audiobooks for free with a trial of Audible if you use my link. That's oldpodcast.com/free. And I'll keep this short since it's a short week for us in the United States. So with that, let's hear another clip from the audiobook and start optimizing your life. An excerpt from the audiobook Essential, Essays by the Minimalists. Don't upgrade. The newest, latest, greatest version of Product X is available today. It's only X dollars, and it does all the cool things you never knew it could do. If you act now, Product X will change your life. We know we don't need Product X to live a good life, even if we really, really want it. We know we don't have to buy the new iPhone when our old phone works just fine. We know we don't need a new car just because the old one isn't as shiny, just as we know we don't need the latest version of software, iPad, television, laptop, or gadget to make us happy. Advertisers spend millions of dollars to create a sense of urgency to make us drool over their products, but we can refuse to play that game. We can turn down the noise. We can focus on what we have instead of what we don't have. We already have everything we need. Sure, sometimes things break or wear out over time, and when that happens, we are left with at least 3 options. Go without. This option is almost taboo in our culture. It seems radical to many people. Why would I go without when I could just buy a new one? Often, this option is the best option, though. When we go without, it forces us to question our stuff. It forces us to discover whether or not we need it. And sometimes we discover life without it is actually better than before. Repair it. Sometimes we can't necessarily go without, but instead of running out and procuring Product X, we can attempt to repair the item first. You wouldn't buy a new car just because the brakes needed to be replaced, would you? The same goes for many other household items. Replace it. As a last resort, we can replace things. But even when we do this, we can do so mindfully. We can purchase used items, we can buy products from local businesses, and often we can downgrade and still have what's necessary to live a fulfilling life. Reprogramming the Twitch by Joshua Fields Millburn. Must one unplug from reality to properly observe reality? Going without a phone for any extended period of time seems to be the modern-day equivalent of a vow of silence. 2 months ago, I decided to 86 my phone for 60 days as an experiment, just to see what would happen, just to see whether my world would keep spinning. People were shocked. Some were appalled. Some people were flat out worried about me. I'll skip the overused Matrix references about unplugging from the grid and simply say I learned more about myself than I intended. I couldn't have done so without disconnecting for a while, without stepping back and actually thinking about my life in a deliberate, uninterrupted way. This is what I learned during my 2 months of quiet time. We have weird expectations. I realized I needed to get rid of my cell phone for a while when I felt pressure to respond to text messages, email, and social media throughout the day. We all have different expectations. You might expect someone to respond in an hour, someone else might expect a response in 10 minutes, another person might expect it the same day. These expectations are arbitrary. When I eliminated my ability to immediately respond, I was able to toss everyone's expectations into the ether. Meaningful conversations. Without the banality of ephemeral text conversations, my real face-to-face conversations have become more meaningful. When I'm spending time with my closest friends and loved ones, I now have more to discuss in earnest. I enjoy these conversations more than ever. People are supportive and understanding. When we make changes in our lives, we're often afraid of what people will think. Will they think I'm crazy, stupid, or out of touch? People are more supportive and understanding than we think, particularly the people closest to us, especially when we discuss our changes with them and let them know we're making the changes so we can live happier lives. Our true friends want us to be happy. We program ourselves. Without knowing it, our daily activities have a profound impact on our future selves. I used to reach for my BlackBerry every few minutes no matter where I was, even at the urinal. Even when the phone wasn't with me, I had programmed myself to reach for it. What an obscene twitch. We can reprogram ourselves. Similarly, we can change these patterns. When we remove a habit from our lives, we become acutely aware of how that habit affected our lives. This is true for any habit, smoking, overeating, etc. It took 22 days for me to reprogram the twitch, 22 days of pausing and noticing why I was twitching. After 22 days, I no longer felt the urge to immediately react. I no longer felt the need to pacify myself with transitory activities like texting or responding to emails during every moment of quote-unquote downtime. Downtime is a misnomer. We used to have precious interstitial zones in which we could find momentary solace, airports, checkout lines, waiting rooms, and other transient sanctuaries in which we could bask in reverie. No longer is this the case. Now everyone seems to be on their phones during these fleeting moments. They are attempting to be more productive or interactive, but perhaps stopping and thinking is far more productive than fiddling with our phones. The world goes on. Without a cell phone, without the internet, without a TV, the world keeps turning. You can test anything for a short period of time to see whether it's right for you. It's not hard to give up anything when you live in the real world. There wasn't a single time when I actually needed my phone in the last 2 months. Sure, there were times when it was inconvenient, times when I had to fight through the frustration, but that was a small price to pay to reprogram the twitch. Yes, I'll go back to using a cell phone for practical purposes, GPS, necessary phone calls, the dictionary app I miss dearly, a memo pad, and a few other useful apps, but I'll use it utterly differently going forward. I'm not going to use it to check email anymore, I'm not going to use it to send text messages while standing at a urinal, and I'm not going to rely on it as my primary means of interacting with the world around me. My cell phone usage will be more intentional than before. My phone will be a tool, not an appendage. You just listened to an excerpt from the audiobook Essential, Essays by the Minimalists. And one last time, you can get this audiobook that I narrated or Minimalism, Live a Meaningful Life by the Minimalists, which I also narrated. Either one is free if you get a trial of Audible through my link, oldpodcast.com/free. Audible will have to pay the Minimalist for the book. They'll donate back to this podcast since I referred you there, and you get to keep the audiobook even if you cancel your trial, so it's awesome for everyone. Again, just come by oldpodcast.com/free to get a free audiobook. And that'll do it on this day before Thanksgiving. I'll see if I can find a relevant post for Thanksgiving tomorrow and Black Friday the day after. I'll have to browse around and see what's out there. But for now, try to stay minimal, and I'll be here on Thanksgiving reading to you some more, where your optimal life awaits.
Hey, this is Dan from the Optimal Finance Daily podcast, which is a lot like this show, except more focused on personal finance. Justin handpicks the best posts he can find from blogs and authors like Ramit Sethi, Mr. Money Mustache, and more, and I read them to you 5 days a week. So if you enjoy this podcast, come on over and subscribe to Optimal Finance Daily too. And together, we'll optimize your financial life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.